Hey, morning, Uncle. Yeah, happy Friday to you too as well. Hey, Divesh. Right, Divesh, I'll explain to you why I'm looking for this zone at the bottom, okay? Let me know if you're about. Hey, Vilekis, hope you're well. So yeah, Divesh, so looking at US 30, like I had said over here, we had seen a change of character because we had a 4H breaker structure here. Now, as we had this break down here, we had this huge expansion. This was our retracement area. This was the area of supply that aligns with our fib. So you can see that's the target zone. Up into this region, we have this area of imbalance. But when we pulled back here, we had this huge expansion and then everything was internal at this point. So as price came down to these extreme lows, we could see we've seen a slight break below. Nothing major. Price more or less respected this area of demand and started to bounce off. So if we go to the 15-minute, you could see this is all of that pullback. So we had the change. Here's the expansion that we had, and then after that we had these M15 structures breaking to the downside. We had lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This was an internal low, and then we had this big push to the downside. So now when we had this big push to the downside, all of this move is part of that one M15, because here, you know, we had a very marginal break and then we kind of came down. We never mitigated this, and then we started to push to the upside. So when you see stuff like that, we still have two zones. Yes, price mitigated this area of demand. We do have a lower region here, but what I would do is, what you've marked out is fine as well, but you just want to wait for lower time frame confirmation. Usually it will be if price comes back here, any reaction, we can look to buy and continue pushing price up. But in this instance, because we still have an area down here which aligns with the entire push, you want to wait for lower time frame. So you kind of want to see like the M5 doing this, and then with confirmation we could take it. If we don't get confirmation, then we can expect we might see a deeper push. Now I've got this area of supply marked. This is just an M15 supply where I'm expecting a reaction from, so we might even see price push into here before we see a push. But the overall move is this area of supply here. Now if I go back to the 4-hour and we just mark up this entire zone here and then go back to the M15, and then we can see we have that perfect area of supply sitting within this. So overall target is at least now that we've had a change, this is a valid area that you've got marked. It's just because price hasn't tapped into this. I was kind of looking at this, and because this was a very marginal break off this, but this is still extremely valid. But we'll see if price comes down before this. We could definitely see a lower time frame shift here and look to continue buying this and then expect a reaction from this supply. But overall the target is, like I kind of said last week, it's going to move this up here, just see what happens when it comes here, is the 34,000, because that aligns with the 4-hour pullback into here, and then we'll wait and see what price does after that. Gold is looking pretty nice for like pullbacks and continuations. Now again, I took an impulsive move here yesterday, and as price came into this area of supply, I kind of closed a big portion of my position and left the runner running. And then you can see what kind of happened. You know, this is all until we didn't have a change of character here. This was all internal, because the last kind of structure that we created in the 5 minute was this. We had a push down here, pull back, and then we had a push down. So all of this was all internal until we had this change of character here on the 5 minute. So once we had this change of character here, so you could see if I mark the fib from here to here, price came down, tapped into this, and continued off. Now once we had this change, you could see we created a nice area of demand with this indecision candle in between here. So a retracement into here. Now we're going to have some liquidity resting below here, below these lows. So people that just see this area of demand. Now again, price could do that if it wanted to, but the way we trade, I'm expecting a break below to fill out this area of imbalance, and then to head towards this area of supply, and to fill out the rest of this imbalance to the left here. So that could be a nice move in terms of, you know, longer term. In order to trade the 4 hour pullback, which was this big sell-off, we at least need a break above this supply, and then some sort of a pullback for us to start continuing the 4H pullback. Overall on the 4 hour, we've seen that change of character. So in my opinion, like I said, we are in that daily pullback phase now, where I'm expecting the 4 hour to retrace, and then for us to kind of see this at least down into these kind of areas, which will align with a 4 hour pullback, and it will fill out a lot of this inefficiency and imbalance and mitigate these areas of demand that are unmitigated. We have one here, we have one here, we have this inefficiency here. So we have these areas where price can definitely come back and fill. GU's playing out pretty nicely. So GU again, pretty straightforward cookie cutter the way we kind of see price. As I had said, we had this area of demand. I mentioned it yesterday. Of what did you make that yellow dashed line? This orange line here? Are you talking about this one? Let me know if you're talking about that orange line. If that's what you're talking about, that's just an alert. So you just, yeah, so as you can see my trading view here, wherever I'm hovering price, you just press the plus button, add an alert, and it'll create an alert. So when price kind of approaches that area, it just sets off an alert so I can go back and review price. So you can see here, as we spoke yesterday, we had this area of demand, which I said could act as the 4 hour pullback, but we're not really concerned about the 4 hour pullback yet because we need the M15 high to break. But we did say we can look at trading the M15 pullback, which again you could see we created some 5 minute, as we broke this M15 here, we had some 5 minute structure within this. And then here you could see we broke above this, we pulled back into that area of demand that price created here. There's that last indecision candle, price closed within that 50%, and there was the buy for the next push up. So nice and easy, patient trading, you know, waiting for our rules to align, not having to force anything, and keeping it real. Euro USD, I was just pretty gutted. Like you can see, there's my alert and there's my markup. So Euro USD was bang on. So Euro USD, you could see we had a 5-minute, sorry, where was our last break? Yeah, here. So we had our 5-minute break of structure here. There was our break of structure. There's our internal break of structure. We kind of create this double bottom here, which I'm not really bothered about. It's not what we look at. Yes, it's a form of liquidity, which eventually will get swept. But for now, you know, what did we see? We saw price create this internal high. So again, of no real value. Currently, this was the lower high. This was the lower low because that broke structure. As we pushed off, we had a change of character just over here. And then we left this imbalance. And then we had this area of demand. Now you could see if I zoom in, there's that indecision candle. Price virtually taps that. I was waiting for price to at least cross the 50% of that and tap into this 70 to 79, and it just didn't. And then price kind of left from this point. So literally it was like 2 pips off of me catching that entry. And what did price push off from this point? Like 33 pips. So, you know, it is what it is. These things happen sometimes. And my original target was just like up to this area of supply. You can see this area of imbalance. We have supply kind of sitting over here. So that was just target 1. You know, because price is pretty messy above here. Even though we're in a 15-minute pullback, this was just a nice clean range to take price to. And, you know, that would have been a nice, if it had worked out, if we had managed to catch that. Stops below that, target there. It's a nice 1 to 7 hour trade. Take that alert off. Again, you win some, you lose some. It's just part and parcel of trading. AED USD shorts would have been good here. Missed out on this. Wasn't really looking at this today. Villicus. Oh, nice. Glad you're enjoying the music. So yeah, you can see 15-minute pullback complete. We had a 15-minute break of structure. Price pulled back into this area of supply. Rejects perfectly off that 50% zone, and then it's starting to come down. So you could probably expect the next push and a break of this 15-minute low. Come down and mitigate this 4-hour demand, which hasn't yet been mitigated. So if this breaks, then the swing low here is taken, and then we can expect price to continue heading down. I would personally say into like the 0.64200 region, where we have this unmitigated area of demand and all of this imbalance and inefficiency. So then we can kind of treat this as a push, and then we can start to see price continue its move to the downside. But right now you can probably see price is nicely heading towards nice rejection. You can see 5-minute demand here failed. So yeah, it's moving down nicely from this region. CAD CHF, not much. It's not done much at all at this point. Euro JPY is still approaching that zone, which it hasn't done so yet. Spoken about Euro USD. GJ, I would have been interested for shorts here if we had broken this low. If we had broken this low here, because this was the pullback, this was the push up. If we had taken this out, then a pullback into here, I would have been definitely pretty happy with taking shorts. But as we never broke this low, that's the current swing structure: higher, 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 low, higher, high, higher, low. Could just be getting a reaction to then continue pushing up. So no trade there. Remember guys, if there's any pairs you want me to have a look at, just drop them in the chat. I'll happily take a look. NZD CAD's interesting. Price has now reacted to this level of supply. So if we could see a pullback from this, we could see a mitigation of this supply consolidation. We had the break, we have imbalance. And looking at it, we have liquidity resting below here, and we have this area of demand. So pull back into here for the next push up seems pretty interesting. What else do we have? NZDCHF. Still waiting to see if we can get a pull back into here. We had this original sell-off. Now I wasn't looking to buy from here because yes, we have a area of demand here, but I personally think it's probably early inducement. We probably have this area of supply which we can see price react from. We'll probably have lots of stop losses sitting below here. For price to come back, because again this is an internal pullback because we had this huge push, price pulled back internal. This has failed to break this high so far, so if price comes down, this is internal. We mitigate this and then we push off. So not only have we then swept loads of liquidity, we've then mitigated the demand which sits within our zone for price to enter that, continue that 4-hour pullback, which is part of the daily pullback because here's our daily swing. So we're expecting this. Yeah guys, I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. Within this we could see we had some nice trending, 4-hour structure. Then we just had this big push, and within this you could see we've got these lower structural points, but here's our daily swing, so we could see price retracing back into that area, which aligns pretty nicely with that daily unmitigated supply. You can see that indecision candle, and then we had this huge sell-off. So yeah, still waiting for the pullback on this into this area of demand. NZD JPY, it's approaching a nice area of supply, so this is gonna look nice for some shorts. Tracing numbers in the losing channels. Yeah, we can have a look at some of those. So NZD JPY, we could see daily has still been bullish. as we had the last daily push here, we had a pullback, we had a break above, we had a pullback, kind of equal high, pullback, and now we're looking to take out the next high. But this is a strong area of supply. This is the daily, so it's tapped into the daily, but we've refined that down to the 4-hour, which you can see here. So we have our current 4-hour break as structure. So I would expect price to come into here, and then we can see a 4-hour pullback. You know, that would be the first point. We're not worried about the rest of the demand zones that are down here unmitigated. The only time we'll be looking at that is if this 4-hour breaks, you know. But for now, if we look at our 15-minute, what do we have? We have an M15 breaker structure here. So if we continue to see something like this happening and then see that shift, then we can start to trade this 4-hour pullback. On that, there's our 4-hour low, there's our 4-hour high. And then we can expect price to be potentially coming back down to like 84,800 to 84,500. So it's not ready yet, but it's approaching that region. So at this point, now again, it might start rejecting from here because we do have the daily area of supply, which is probably like this big. But I've refined that down to the 4-hour, so we'll wait and see what happens. I'm going to set an alert just over here. And then if and when price comes into there, we'll take it from there. So which trade was this? So we had, going back to AUD USD, so if we just look at a clean chart, AUD USD. So if we look at the 4-hour, and I'm just going to play this back. So this is my trade that I lost. Now again, like I said before, I was very skeptical of AUD USD because we had like 4-hour breaker structure to the downside, then a breaker structure to the top side, or more like changes of characters. So price is just like chopping around massively in this range. So I wasn't overly keen, but we could see price came into that zone. We had this area of demand, which we had tapped into. At this point we didn't, and then what I was looking to do is trade that trade the pullback. So we could see we had a area of supply here, but I refined that down, going down to the 5-minute, and you could see on the 5-minute that kind of came up into this region. So at this point, we kind of had done this. Morning, Damien. We had like a breaker structure here, and then we had a breaker structure here. So at this point you could see, boom, we had a change of character just over here. And then within this, we left this area of demand, which aligned with our fib. So now we had that shift, and you could see there was the demand zone. So now I could see this area of imbalance. So as price approached this region, you could see here we had a couple of taps, and then at this point I got into the trade, and my stops were below there, and I was targeting this high. And then you can see price start to push off, and it kind of came to these highs. So now if I go back to the 15-minute, what price had done over here was, you could see there was a minor gap over here, so we filled a bit of it, and then price Hey Shogun, good to hear from you, mate. Shogun, you need to reply to that ticket with your email address and your name, so I can enroll you into the course, so you can get the link to the website. So send that across. That ticket's open. So yeah, so I was waiting for price to head into here, even though I knew the 15-minute demand was, supply was kind of here. I was expecting price to probably fill out this gap and mitigate that. But then you could see price kind of after that, price never went that high. So how far was I off my TP? It was like 9 pips. It was 9 pips, and then we ended up. And the thing is, we sold off here. Now, I'm not saying that is the main course, but we sold off here because there was, I completely didn't pay attention. We had news. So this is Thursday, 2:30 in the morning for me, which is, so if I look Thursday, 2:30 a.m., we had unemployment news for AUD. So that came in bearish, so it came in below. So the unemployment change expectation was 24.8k. It came in minus 4.3k, and the unemployment rate was 3.7% versus forecast was 3.5. So obviously, if the unemployment is increasing, then interest rate hikes are going to be less likely. So news came in, and it just smoked me straight out. So again, I think part of a rookie mistake, even though price never got to that, I should have known that there was news and taken at least 70% there, or at least 70% here before news. But I just completely didn't realize that there was news, and then price ended up stopping me out. And that's just the nature of trading sometimes. So that was one trade. That was an L. What else was there? There was also, so Ryan had a trade on EU. So let's look at Euro USD. So if we go to the 4 hour, so we had an area of demand here. Right, now let's just play this back. And then let's go to the M15. So at this point, we could see we had an M15 breaker structure here. And within this, so there's our M15 high, and wherever our low is going to form. So let's just continue seeing this. So price taps into this. Let's just see this. Was it this? Was it this? No, this is just play this out for a second. I don't think it was here. I think it was yeah, it was over here. It was here, and it price comes back. Yeah, so I think it was at this area of demand. Yeah, because here we had a break to the top side, so we could see we had an M15 breaker structure to the downside. Within this, we're creating this 5-minute structure, and then here we break above. Then we start to consolidate. So we've tagged high time frame demand. We then come back in, and we have this area of demand. Right now, at this point, we have a minor area of supply here. So if we just look at this and see what happens. So price taps into this 50% of this area. We respect it, and then we come into this area of supply. Now at this point, we had this aggressive selling coming into this zone. So when we're trading this, what you at least want to see is whether it's the 3 minute or the 5 minute, you at least want to see price, even if it doesn't break above this, you at least want to see a reaction and then price respect the current zone that's formed. As long as price comes back here and respects this, then we can continue taking some buys. Or if price breaks above this and pulls back, that's even better. But at this point, price reacted from our fib. We could see we had this area of supply. Price reacted to it, then comes back, and then boom, shoot straight off. So like I would at least want price to come back and respect this zone. So we've created a lower low, we're in that area of demand, lower high, come back, retest this area, reject, show any signs of rejection here, and then we could look to get in. Or price just breaks above this and then gives us any kind of pullback, and then we can look to get in. But you can see price reacted to this, and then boom, we just went through. So even though when price comes in, if price has created like an area of supply, which you could see it did, we had this aggressive huge selling candle and we have this perfect supply zone, you at least want to see a reaction, which in most cases we're going to get a reaction from that zone, but you want price to respect demand, minor demand created, and you want supply to fail. It doesn't have to break, but even if it reacts, what's the objective of supply? It's to create a new low and break the lower low. So as long as when price comes back it doesn't do that, then we could look for an entry. But on this occasion, you could see as we were coming back, boom, we just broke through. So you want to be a bit patient with those things at times, and that's exactly just what happened. Price just absolutely annihilated through that and broke through it. So, and now we can see prices reacting to this area of demand that we have that was unmitigated. And here you could see, we get an M15 break there. We get a pullback, so there's our next M15. So we have our M15 range, which is this push to the downside. So if we now go into the 5-minute chart, we can see a similar kind of pattern. We create a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, internal, change of character. Here, price just never comes back. It virtually just taps this. I wanted a slightly deeper push, and then we just get that rejection off to the top side. And in this instance, you can see there was no like aggressive, massive supply candle like there was over here. Did you have any other anyone else share any losses? Those are the real ones from the members. Any pairs anyone wants me to have a look at? silver. So silver being bullish, we started to pull back, came above here, broke this. Yeah, so silver's looking good. If we can get a retracement back into this area of supply, we currently have this. Currently had this push above. We could definitely see a deeper move down into this. Down into like further areas of demand, and we have all of this inefficiency created. So now looking at this, we can refine that 4 hour into this area of supply. Hey Whitney. So silver is had a pullback break. I would say silver's looking nice for some, you know, we're due a 4 hour pullback. It's a bit messy price action down here is. But you can see price reacted from this area of supply here once, then came down. But we could see on a 15-minute, what were we creating? We were creating, had a lower low, lower high, created a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we had a shift. Now we've had a shift, we have this area of demand. So I think if price can head back here, fill out this inefficiency, we have some liquidity below here, we have imbalance here to the left, we have this area of demand. So head back into here and continue pushing higher in that 4 hour pullback to head back up towards, in my opinion, 25.4 to then see the next drop. That's what I would probably say. On silver. So USD JPY again, as we spoke, we broke above this. The next area of supply is sitting over here at like 142, which you could see price heading towards. Now we had a 4 hour break over here, the last one, and currently the 15-minute structure, as you could see, is bullish. We had the last pullback here, then we had this huge push to the top side. Now we do have this area of demand over here, so you could see price continuing down here, continue the M15 push to the top side, and continue with this 4 hour bullish move that we've had. Just need to be careful, you know, we could see a 4 hour pullback at some point. We do have actually, this area of supply before that daily one further sitting up. So we could probably see If price pulls back into this demand, the next push into there, which would push price into like 139,600 region. And that will just align pretty nicely with filling out the rest of this imbalance here and mitigating that supply. And I think that this supply here at 130, between 139 and 140, could act as the 4-hour pullback. So I think we could probably see 15-minute, another 15 minutes. If we get a tap in here, could see a 15-minute break above and then a change of character after mitigating that high time frame supply, and then enter that 4-hour pullback, which currently is this low here. Say we get the high there, and we'll have a nice area of imbalance here, early inducement with liquidity here, and then we have this area of demand to trade down into, then start trading back up from here for price to continue to that 142 higher time frame daily area of supply. Like I've already given I think the overall target is still into that 146, which is a fair ways away for now. Current target, this supply, pull back into 135, next 4-hour push up to mitigate 142, and then we could see a pullback and a continuation to the upside again. Yeah, gold is somewhat ranging. We had this breakout. I'm just waiting to see. I caught a trade. I took an aggressive trade down the bottom here. Secured a fair bit. And then we had this 5-minute change of character. So for now, if we can get a pullback into this region here, we could see the next push up at least into this area of supply, which is strong supply. Which sits at like 1973. NZD JPY, has it come into supply yet? Yeah, it's come into the daily, but the 4-hour, it hasn't tapped into it yet. So you can see on a 4-hour, here's the revised zone on the 4-hour. And what I said on the 4-hour was, so like on the 15, we've had that 15 break above. If we can tap into this and then see a shift, we can then look to start trading the 4-hour pullback, because the last 4-hour breaker structure we had was here. So you can then see price kind of heading back down towards here before we potentially see the next push up, because we should realistically be seeing, if we're in that uptrend, we should be seeing this is the daily high, this is the daily low. So this is a strong low because we're in a daily uptrend. So we should then be seeing this high be taken. So if that's the case, we should probably be expecting the 4 hours to continue bullish from this point if we get that pullback. So yeah, we are approaching it, fast approaching it, but yeah, need to see some shifts. As tempting as it seems, not keen on aggressively trading into this. But yeah, we are definitely approaching that. So what else do we have? Hey, Masia. Okay, oil's bounced off pretty nicely from where we were. This is the let's have a look at the daily 4-hour. Yeah, so this was our swing zone, low to high, price perfectly closed within that area. Kind of came down. It's been ranging. It's broken out. reacting to this supply. So what do we have? Let's go down. Yeah, it's a little bit choppy, oil is. Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin's kind of where it's at. We had this 4-hour break. I'm still waiting for price to head towards 28,800 to like, yeah, 28,900 region. So we had our daily push up. Within this, we had our 4-hour structure. So we had a change of character, pullback, 4-hour breaker structure. I'm expecting to see the next pullback on the 4-hour, and for price to continue heading down into this daily pullback zone, which is down in 22,500 region. But before that, the next demand zone we'll have will sit at like the 25,000 mark, which is a nice round psychological level. So if we can get a pullback into like 28,900, we could see the next sell-off down into 25k at first, as first point, which is just part of the daily pullback. So this will be our daily swing. So that's what. So now, as you can see, we had a daily breaker structure here to the downside, and then we've now broken the daily to the top side here. Now within this daily, we have like our 4-hour swing like this, and we are pretty overextended. So after a daily break, we can expect a daily pullback. We do have this area of daily supply that's unmitigated. As you could see, indecision candle, then we had this aggressive selling, so price is approaching this. So then we have our range from here to say price pulls into this. You can see this gap here and this area of demand here. So then on a daily, we can probably see the retracement back into like 12,200, 12,400 region. But for now, you know, everything is still bullish, and we haven't yet tapped this. So I'm waiting for price to mitigate that 14,000 psychological level. Once we get into that, you know, where's our next 4-hour? Kind of had this, and then we pushed above. So our next kind of 4-hour structures, like over here, we had a 4-hour break here, and then we've just kind of been rallying. So again, say we get to the 50% of that daily and we see a 15-minute structure shift. Look what we see here. We have a perfect area of demand that sits within our fib confluence, and it's unmitigated, and we have an area of imbalance. So we could see price from here, you know, if we can see like some 15-minute structure form like this and see that shift, we could then see at least this happen. And then if this low gets taken, get off, it's a bit squonky. So this is our 4-hour low. Sorry, where's that 4-hour low? I've got this slightly, need to move this here. Did that break? Yes, that did. Then we had a break here. So it's here. So if we could see this 4-hour low break, because pretty much this has all been part of the one big push to the top side, then we can start to look at this swing, you know, where we had this pullback, and then after this we just kind of rallied. So then we can start to say, right, okay, we can probably start to then look for trading a pullback down into these deeper areas. And again, within this, look what we can see, a perfect area of demand sitting at 12,200, 12,300, which is unmitigated. So we could then see that. So a lot to happen before that point. And again, on the current M15, you know, what do we have? What was this pullback? Like nearly 100. So yeah, so minor pullback in comparison to the entire move, but it's relevant to where we are at the moment. Hey, morning to you. So that's what we currently have. So if we see a pullback into kind of this, we could see the next push up. But yeah, it's you know, it's really difficult trying to trade this. You know, you got this demand, you got demand here. We're so extended that the safer options are going to be like price getting into this 14,000 odd region, and then we can see if price does anything. So you could see currently we have USD CHF in this area of supply, kind of daily supply zone. So we kind of had this lower low, lower high, lower low. We've had a shift, reacted to this. Now we'll see what happens. Where is price? Yeah, it's a bit messy. Not really interested in that. This was just perfect trade we missed out on. You know, you look at the 4 hour, so NZD JPY, NZD USD. I was looking at this. You can see we have this daily area of supply here. So we were pushing up here. So on a daily, you could see we had this massive push down, broke that structure, and then we came up here and briefly broke above this. Then we kind of entered this pullback. So I was like, right, okay, we had a daily break. We're going to enter a daily pullback. We're probably going to work our way down. So we had this huge expansion here, and then we start to have this internal. So I was like, right, we could head back up into there, fulfill the pullback, and then continue down to complete this pullback and mitigate these areas of demand. Now, within the 4 hour then, what did we see? So we kind of saw, here's our daily push down and our 4 hour change of character. So we had this huge expansion, and then we kind of started to do this, and then we came down. And if we look at this, we kind of came down, so we started to create these lower lows and lower. So at this point, I was like, right, okay, we shift this structure. We're not going to head back up towards here. And if you refine this supply, you can see we can refine it down to there. But then we had this massive push up, and we took out these highs, and we took out these highs. So once we did this, I was like, right, okay, we could definitely be heading back to the top side. So then I kind of marked this up, and I was like, right, okay, price mitigates this zone. So originally I was looking at demand at the bottom here, but then as price tapped into this, you could see we pushed off to the top side, and then you could see this is like all one move. Then we retraced back into here, we respected this, so the buyers would have been really out of this zone here, because at this point we've created this big swing structure to the top side. So there's price, if price really wanted to head down into these lows, we would have done that. Supplies failed. As we came in here, if we now then go down to the 5 minute, now this is where you start to really refine down your zones and start to understand where there was that opportunity, right? So if we're looking at this, at this point this is internal, but then when we now go down to the 15 minute, it's still somewhat internal when we pull back here, because we had a huge drop, so we never really formed any structure here. You could treat this as part of one move, and then we started to come down. But then as we shifted bearish, and if this is our 15 minute push to the downside, and we're going to continue lower, and we're going to mitigate the demand that I said down here, then we should expect the 5 minute trend to remain bearish. So at this point, you know, we're kind of coming down here. We do this, we come down, we come here, we don't break this, but then what do? We do here. So you could see if we just zoom in a little bit, we come down here, we have a pullback, we then come down here, we then shift above here, and what do? We create demand. And this area, why is this area significant? Because if price was going to reverse and continue pushing up, we've already mitigated that 70 to 79% here off the 4-hour zone. We're expecting maybe we might come deeper, and maybe this might be internal. Now, if this is going to be internal, then we're going to expect price to continue pushing down. But if we're going to continue higher from here, I'm going to delete this fib. Here is our next swing. So if we're going to reverse, where can we reverse from? This region here. So now if we go down to the 5-minute, you can see we come down into this zone. We get a shift here. Get a slight breach above. We get volume. And then you could perfectly see we create that area of demand. We tap into this zone here. Now again, we mitigate this. And this is a prime example of what I was talking about when I was talking about EU earlier. You could see in this case, we had this aggressive selling and we had this supply form here. So as price comes into this, I'm just going to replay price here for a second. So now we've come into this area. We can see there's this minor supply where price can kind of react from. So when price comes into this, tap into it. Like I said, either we want to see price break it and pull back. If it doesn't break it, we want price then to not create a new low. We want price then to come back here and respect this zone, and that's going to indicate to us that supply has failed. And we already have the analysis from the swing that we've spoken about. This was the key area. We've seen this shift in market structure, so we've spoken about all of these things already. So then as price comes back, you could see price is respecting, it's failing to break the lows, and there's your entry. You know, whether you take it over here or you just wait for that candle, you could take it on that candle there. Just have your lows, stops covering the lows here, and then at that point we could be, even if you don't want to target the high, you could just be saying, right, where's supply? You know, at that point supply is there. We have imbalance over there, and we can be like, right, okay, you know, we're trading that structure back up. And that's exactly what happens. Price then continues pushing off to the top side. Now again, you know, we could absolutely look to be taking this high because we know this is a weak high based on what we've spoken about on the 4-hour. So you could see how we've just worked this entire thing down from the daily to the 4-hour to the 15 to the 5, and understood within structure where we are trading and how we're trading. Just by a mechanical set of rules, we've identified and determined within that trend where we're trading, where's the higher time frame going, what's the lower time frame telling us. All of these things are significant, but having the ability to understand that is a different scenario. So kind of looking back at this was a great trading opportunity. And what was that? You know, even if we took it to this and never took the high, that's a 1 to 8.7 hour trade, which is significant. Just a quick one, guys. Can you let me know if this color scheme is? Can you see this clearly on the when you're viewing it on the stream? Is it clear enough? Right, perfect. Thanks, Damien. So yeah, and then, you know, where are we now? So now price is, you know, we've done this, we created this. Now at any point price could do this, because now what have we created within this? We've now got this swing. You know, there was our push up, there was our retracement, Now we're doing this. Now, whether price reacts from here, here, anywhere, what's the general expectation? If we're expecting price to head back up towards this daily area of supply, we already know that we've had this break above these highs and we've had the pullback. So what we're doing, we're working our way towards this week high. We do have supply here. Price is currently reacting from this area of supply. We have imbalance here, but overall we can expect price to do this until it at least breaks above this. Then it could have a pullback. So this is internal price action. This will be our swing, potentially this, until we get into this point. So, you know, multiple trading opportunities, applying the same rules, just too many trades to keep on top of. But hopefully that was some good free education for some of the newer members. And remember guys, if you haven't hit that like, smash that like button. What news do we have today? So we have CAD retail sales at 130, and we have Fed Chair Powell speaking later. It's not actual FOMC. We don't have FOMC today. No, it's just Fed Chair Powell speaking. It's just some of them speaking. It's not actual FOMC. NZD JPY is approaching that area. Delete some of these colors I don't use. Yeah, no FOMC today. So GU, it's bouncing around this area of supply. So I took profits off the table just over here. Again, it's about managing risk, you know, giving enough time for my trade to push. And you could see, you know, where we're rejecting this zone here. So 70% secured, and we'll see what the rest does. I don't need to be sitting there holding forever. Now again, price might just absolutely come back here and continue higher. It is Friday, so there's no need to be leaving too much on the table on a Friday. Right guys, any questions? Any pairs you want me to have a look at? Drop them in the chat, And if you haven't joined our Discord, I'll drop the link in the chat. It is free to join. NZD CAD. NZD CAD is a bit of a strange one because overall we could see, so if we go higher time frame, let's go higher time frame here, right? So on the monthly, we've pretty much been ranging, right? Kind of push down, pull back, push down, pull back, came down, broke these lows. So theoretically we've been bearish. Then we come to the weekly and we kind of see, right, okay, what is price doing? Price was in this push up, so we were creating these internal higher highs and higher lows. You know, we had this pull back, had this pull back, and then here we kind of shifted. So here it shifted, then we came up, lower low, a lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we had this big push. So now we know we're working, we are bearish. You know, we do have on a weekly unmitigated demand at 0.72, which is a nice round psychological level. And then we currently had this push and then we had a pullback. Now if I mark the fib, you can see price literally wicked into that area of fib reversal zone to continue pushing down, and we were pretty extended. The only thing that I wasn't overly keen on was the fact that this was all internal. You know, this is internal lower lows and lower highs, and at any point price can shift that. And again, I said last time, I'm not one for patterns, but you could kind of see this. You know, we are in this range here, but it's more the fact that it's internal. If we did something like this, we had a pullback, we created a new daily high, and then we had a change, then I would be so much more confident to say, right, okay, price is, in my opinion, heading back down to like 0.8, nice round psychological level. That would be the pullback off of this huge expansion. But because it's internal, it's pretty tough. So even if we look at it and say, right, okay, we've had internal daily breaks of structures. There's our internal daily break. There's our internal daily break. Where's our current range? Right, okay, this is our range. Now let's go to the 4 hour. We had this 4 hour area of supply, which price reacted to. And then we shifted. You know, we came up here. So in this pullback, we created a higher, we had a pullback, minor break above, had a change. So yeah, we could say we're heading to the downside, had a change here, and then price reacted from this strong area of demand. And we're now pulling back. So if we delete all that, we know that that's happened. Let's look at the current state of play. Right, so we have this area of supply. So if we are going to continue pushing down, let's go to the 15-minute. Now what I'd like to see is some 15-minute structure form. Right, because what we did here was came down, had this pullback, break a structure, change a character, came all the way to the extreme, never broke this, and then rallied off. Now this is our 15-minute low, this is our 15-minute high. We've not had, I would like to see a pullback. I would like to see structure form, and then if we can see a shift, then we can start comfortably continue to trade this down. Until that point, you know, it's like what happened here. So if you look at this, right, this is where we had the change that we spoke about over here. Well, we originally had, let's go to the 4 hour for a second. Yeah, so this is where we had the change, as originally we had a 15-minute break over here. So if I go now down to the 15-minute time frame, so you can see as price was pushing up here, higher, 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 low, we had this high, kind of came down, and then we broke. So we had this huge push to the downside over here. So, you know, back to our price cycle, consolidation, expansion, retracement, reversal. So when we're looking at that, we had this area of supply up over here. And you could see as price was pulling back here, we created some structure. We had a higher high, higher low. Sorry, let me just do this again here. So we had price pushing up, we had this high, we had a pullback, we then had this high, and then price came down here, smashed below this, pulled back into this area of supply, and then we started to roll over. So we kind of want a similar thing that happened here. We now have this area of supply. Can we see something like this? Which is safer. Or, you know, you could take a trade here. Wait for rejection from this point. We do actually have on a 15-minute, there is an area of supply sitting above, so I'd probably wait. This could be an area of liquidity just over here, and we have slight imbalance here, and we have this supply here, so we could see that. Or just wait for price to come in on the 5-minute, because right now, where's our 15-minute swing structure? This low to the current high. Now on that 5-minute, you could see we started to form a trend up here. Down here was pretty, you know, this was all just one move. Then we had a pullback, then we had a break above, then we had a pullback, break above, pullback, break above. So now we're trending on the 5-minute. So if we can continue to trend on the 5-minute up into here, and then see a 5-minute shift, then we could at least look to trade the 15-minute pullback, which is this, which would be a significant trade in itself. So that's what I would look at. Hopefully that makes enough sense. G is pushing now. Good. Let's keep going. So we got this. I can actually probably just continue pushing this up to this point, because we do have an unmitigated area of supply on the 5-minute up here next. No worries at all. Let's go back to gold. What's gold? Gold is currently just in that pullback, which is good. GBP NZD was like prime, like you could see here. Now again, this is just, you know, looking back at this, you could see we had this change of character here, then we had this push, and then we had this. These are minor this was a minor pullback, so we had this kind of rally. So you could see, mark this up, price perfectly pulled back into this area of supply. Now this again, look at this. This is a prime example of early inducement. You know, you could move this supply actually up here. And you can see people that probably see this area of supply, price perfectly pulled back into this region. And you can see, excuse me, you can see perfectly here. We in the 15-minute, we create this nice structure as we approach this high, have a change of character. Price pulls back into this area of supply that's unmitigated, and let's see where within the GAN box does it close. 50% again. Rejection there. We should at least look into be take a trade from there and trading down into this area of imbalance. Stops above this swing, and we got all of this inefficiency that we can then start to look to trade down into. Some monster trade. Damn, missed that. Missed it. Perfect cookie cutter trade of how we trade. And again, it's just when price shifted here, what's that doing? That's aligning us over here within this area. When we shifted, that's just aligning us with the overall swing structure, which is telling us when the 4 hours broken. Now let's go to the daily. The 4 hours shifted here, so where are we? We're in a daily pullback. So from this point, we could see price like, you know, heading down into this region before we see the next push up. So we've already had that mitigation of that zone up over here. We've already seen the shift in the 4 hour. We could see price from above here is pretty efficient. This, you know, we had this area of supply which was mitigated here. So the last area of supply was here, and that's exactly where we saw the M15 structure shift. GU's pushing. Come on, GU. Can we come up and fill out this imbalance and mitigate that? Should be able to, no problem. Anyone catch any trades today? Anyone in any trades? Nothing yet. Stayed out the markets. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just waiting to see if we can get a retracement on Euro GBP back up into here so we can continue pushing down to mitigate this demand. Just been pretty much arranging on the daily for the last week or so. Probably be the week after because we didn't put anything up. We didn't put an event up, and I think it's too short notice now. We need to give enough time. So I'd probably say if we create an event and put it up and see if see how many sign-ups we get, then we can take it from there. It's more just to like do Q&A and take them through, like show them the course, a brief overview of the course, and if there's any questions people have, so they can see it. So if we post an event up for, say, like next week some point, we could do that. Or we could try it for Sunday, you know, if we want to put an event up. If we want to put an event up and just put it up for Sunday and see how many new members that are interested in that short notice. If we get enough, then we'll do it Sunday. If not, then we can just change it to some point next week, whatever we think seems good. Sorry guys, I'll be right back in 1 sec. Right guys, sorry I'm back. Shogun, are you still here? You should have an email come across to you now with so you can enroll. Just gonna close the ticket in Discord because it should be fine. Oh, look how horrible Euro CHF is. No worries, yeah, you just follow that and you should be able to sign up and you'll have access to the full course, the videos, and the ebook to download and stuff as well. Enjoy. Put a lot of time and effort into it, so hopefully you guys find it of value. Oh, NZDJPY, we are approaching supply. Right. Pretty quiet, slow day.
Four computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day. Been on for what, an hour and a half. Wow, it's a lot longer than I normally am on for. So again, hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got value from it. You learned something. It's the whole point of me doing these. Yeah, if you haven't joined the Discord, do so. If you've not subscribed to YouTube, do so. And it's the end of the week, and I'll be doing the weekly watch list on the weekend. And for everyone else, I'll catch up with you guys either in Discord or later on at some point. But have a good rest of your day, and take care, everyone. Bye.